What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kenza for Life here, and we're back with another video. Is $80 the new norm for gaming? It's over. The era of the $60 game, a price point that was the bedrock for a whole generation of gaming, is gone. For years, we debated the jump to $70. It was like seeing a storm cloud on the horizon. We argued, we complained, but in the end, most of us just accepted it. But now, that storm is here. The goalposts haven't just been moved, they've been launched into orbit. Starting this holiday season, major players like Nintendo and Microsoft are rolling out their biggest titles with a shocking new price tag, $80 US. This isn't a rumor. It's not a test balloon. It's the new reality. And it brings up a terrifying question. Is this the price that finally puts gaming out of reach for the average person? Let's be crystal clear about what is happening here. That jump from $60 to $70, which really kicked off with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, was a bitter pill to swallow. But it felt like an inevitable one. Now, less than 5 years later, we're being asked to take another huge leap. Nintendo arguably fired the first shot, announcing that the upcoming titles for their new console would carry that $80 price. Microsoft quickly fell in line, confirming that starting in 2025 holiday season, their own first-party games would also cost $80. This isn't just affecting a new niche titles. This is the price for the next Call of Duty, the next Fable, and everything else from the dozens of studios under Microsoft's massive umbrella. Obsidian's upcoming RPG, The Outer Worlds 2, is already confirmed with an $80 price tag for its October 2025 release. And it's not just the games. The price hike is like a rising tide lifting all boats. The Xbox Series X, which launched at $499.99, now has a suggested retail price of $599.99 in some regions. The digital version saw a similar $100 jump. Even the supposedly budget-friendly Series S has its price jacked up. And of course, accessories are creeping up right alongside them, with controllers and headsets getting their prices quietly inflated, like sneaky fees on a bill. To cost even get in the door is becoming astronomical. If you want to get a new console and just 3 new first-party games at launch, you're looking at close to $850 before tax. This isn't just an increase, it's a reclassification of the hobby itself. A pastime that for decades was proud of being one of the most accessible forms of entertainment is quickly putting on a tuxedo and turning into a luxury. The question is no longer, what game should I buy? It's becoming, what one game can I afford? Whenever a company announces a price hike this big, you always get a careful worded explanation that feels like it was written by an army of lawyers. Microsoft's defense points to 2 main culprits: market conditions and the rising cost of development. And to be fair, making a game isn't like it used to be. Making a AAA game in 2025 is like building a skyscraper. It's unbelievably expensive and complicated process. Development costs have absolutely exploded. 5 or so years ago, a big game might have cost between $50 to $150 million. Today, modern AAA titles are estimated to cost $200 million or even more. There are reports that the budget for the next Call of Duty went past $300 million. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is said to have cost over $250 million just for development. Those budgets pay for huge teams of hundreds of developers, artists, and engineers working for years. Then you have to add in marketing, which is like a second equally expensive skyscraper built right next to the first one. Suddenly, you're looking at a $500 million investment for just one game. Publishers also argue that game prices have been frozen in time. The standard $60 price point was stuck in place for about 15 years, from 2005 to 2020. They argue that if you adjust for inflation, that $60 from back then should be way more today. Some industry execs will even argue that games should cost well over $100 by now. They'll also point to the pressure, like tariffs on electronics, that makes the physical parts of gaming more expensive. So the corporate argument is simple. Our costs went up, your prices didn't. So we're just correcting the market. It sounds reasonable on the surface. But it's a story that conveniently leaves out some very important chapters. That whole narrative about the poor struggling publisher just trying to make ends meet completely evaporates the second you look at their profits. It's like someone telling you they can't afford lunch while driving a Lamborghini. The gaming industry isn't just surviving. It's a financial juggernaut that makes more money than the film and music industry combined. Microsoft, while talking about rising costs, recently posted quarterly revenues in the tens of billions of dollars. This is not a company that's struggling to keep the lights on. And that rising cost argument cleverly ignores a huge elephant in the room: the massive savings from digital sales. Every digital copy sold is like a meal sold without the cost of a plate, silverware, or a waiter. It completely bypasses the cost of making a disc, printing a case, and shipping it to a store. And yet, that $80 price tag applies to both physical and digital games. Why? An analyst from Nico Partners put it bluntly: to maintain price parity with retailers to offset other costs, and maybe most cynically because they can. They know a huge part of the market has no choice but to buy digitally, so they charge the same high price for a product that costs them less to deliver. Let's also not pretend the base price is the only time they reach into your wallet. That $80 is just the cover charge. It's the ticket to get into a theme park where every single ride, snack, and souvenir costs extra. I'm talking about microtransactions, battle passes, season passes, and DLC. These have become the real money makers, ensuring a single game keeps bringing in cash long after launch. The argument that the box price has to cover everything is just dishonest, when the entire business model is built on continuous spending. This is the agitation. This is the point where the price hike stops feeling like an economic adjustment and starts feeling like pure corporate greed. It feels particularly insulting when it turns a beloved hobby into a source of financial stress. It's building a wall around our hobby, and not everyone can afford the price of admission. It creates a class divide, separating those who can afford to keep up from those who get left behind. The ripple effects are huge. This kind of pricing makes publishers terrified of taking risks. Would you spend $80 on an unproven new idea when you could just wait for a guaranteed hit? This pushes all the money towards a handful of massive franchises. which could starve innovative indie developers like a giant supermarket starving out a local farmer's market. It also pushes more people towards the free-to-play games, which, while having no upfront costs, are often designed like casinos to get you to spend money. And for your global audience, where $80 isn't an insane amount of money, it makes piracy look like a much more reasonable option. So, what can we actually do? We can't single-handedly force these corporate giants to change their prices, but we can change how we as gamers navigate this one. More expensive world. This is the solution phase. But it's not about fixing the industry overnight. It's about adapting so we can survive it. First, this is the most powerful tool in your arsenal. Become a patient gamer. Think of day one releases like a brand new car model. It's at its most expensive and might still have some kinks to work out. The vast majority of games, maybe with the exception of some Nintendo titles, get big price drops within the first month. That $80 blockbuster will probably be $50 or less during a holiday sale. Fighting the fear of missing out, that FOMO is your superpower. Let the first wave of players be the beta testers, and you can swoop in later for the polished, patched, and much more affordable version. Second, embrace subscription services. There are basically all-you-can-eat buffets of the gaming world. Now, services like the Xbox Game Pass have also seen their prices go up, but they still offer incredible value. Getting all of Microsoft's first-party titles, including those new $80 games, on day one as part of your subscription is a total game changer. This is probably Microsoft's strategy all along, making individual games feel like a pricey steak dinner, so the buffet looks like an unbeatable deal. Third, explore the indie scene. While the AAA studios are all merging into these giant risk-averse behemoths, the indie space is more creative than ever. It's like the craft beer scene of gaming. For a fraction of the cost of one $80 game, you can buy several incredible, passion-filled indie titles that often deliver far more memorable experiences while the giants are chasing profits. Indie developers are chasing their dreams, and that's something worth supporting. Finally, we have to demand more for our money. If a game is going to carry a luxury price tag, it needs to deliver a luxury experience. That means it needs to be a complete, polished, and massive game right at launch. We need to be way more critical of games that launch in a broken state or that hold back big pieces of content for later as the price gets higher. Our standards have to get higher too. And this is where the conversation really gets started. How are you planning to deal with the new $80 price tag? Are you going to join the Patient Gamers Club? Lean on services like Game Pass, or are you just going to have to buy fewer games? Let me know your strategy down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to see how the community plans to adapt, because how we all respond is what will shape the future of this hobby. The $80 game is a defining moment for our industry. It feels like a fundamental miscalculation, or worse, a blatant disregard for a huge part of the audience. While the publishers point to inflation and development costs, gamers are record profits and aggressive monetization that tell a very different story. This isn't just about an extra $10. This is about the soul of the hobby. It's about whether gaming will continue to be an inclusive world for everyone, or if it's going to become a walled-off playground for the wealthy. The choice for now is in the hands of the corporations. But the power to react, to adapt, and to vote with our wallets, that still belongs to us. And in the face of the $80 price tag, how we choose to use that power is more important than ever. Thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives. I'll see you on the next one. Stay frosty.